Well, with just 40 days to go to the much-anticipated general election, all the 4 presidential candidates in this year's race have met the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to air out their concerns about the exercise. The Azimio insisting that a manual voter register should be in place should the electronic voter register fail. But the Kenya Kwanza coalition, on the other hand, saying that they will insist on the electronic voter registration. That is one of our main stories tonight. Also, tonight, IEBC to use biometric and physical voter registers to verify voters during the August polls.
Yes, we do electronic identification through the biometrics, but there should also be that manual register, which is crossed, so that you can also counter-check.
We do not want a manual register. If you give us sufficient safeguards that an electronic register will function without any chance of failure, then we are good.
Ruto's UDA is opposed to manual voter register, while Azimio wants it as a backup. Also tonight, major changes in the police department in Nakuru following killings of women in Mawanga.
Nimemwambia regional commissioner na regional police commander hapa wahakikishe kwamba tunaweka polisi hapa tuanze kupatrol area yote ili wananchi wakae kwa usalama.
Interior CAS Fred Matiang'i has met families of the gang victims, community leaders, as well as Mawanga residents. Plus, Kenya Kwanza intensifies vote hunt in Kiambu and Tharaka Nithi as Karua takes Azimio campaigns to Homa Bay. A dead boy resurrects.
Mwaka mzima tunajaribu kutafuta tu mpaka leo. Tulipopata leo yeye anatokea, sisi tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu.
A boy who was presumed dead and buried resurfaces in Tana River 1 year later. Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Anne Wairimo. Deputy President William Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza flag bearer will tomorrow evening unveil the coalition's manifesto at the Kasarani Stadium. The manifesto has been touted as a people-centered manifesto drafted by Kenyans after the coalition completed its economic forums engagements across the country. The coalition says the manifesto is geared towards helping the coalition draw a roadmap in solving priority issues affecting Kenyans in the event they win the polls.
The Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate DP William Ruto is now confident that the forthcoming general election will be peaceful. This after his competitor and Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga promised that he will concede defeat if he loses the August polls. Speaking during a Kenya Kwanza economic forum in Tharaka Nithi, the second command said as Kenyans go into the election to make their decisions, it was imperative for all leaders to assure them of their continuous tranquility after the process by accepting their will.
For the first time, I want to congratulate my competitor for accepting and for committing for the first time that he will respect the outcome of the election and he will concede when he loses the election.
During a Tuesday night interview with journalists, Odinga, who was with his running mate Mother Karua, stated that he will concede defeat if he loses.
I'm the sportsman between me and him. And I know that asiyokubali kushindwa sio mshindani. So I would easily accept defeat and congratulate the winner.
Ruto has in several instances asked Raila to declare his stand, claiming
After completing more than 47 economic forums across all the 47 counties, Deputy President William Ruto's led Kenya Kwanza coalition is ready to unveil its manifesto The feat that will be held on Thursday evening occurs after the signing of charters between the coalition principals and various interest groups. Among the charters that the Kenya Kwanza Alliance has signed include the Women's Charter, Youth Charter, Education Charter, Health Charter, and a Charter for people living with disabilities. The charters are geared to help the coalition achieve its manifesto. Among the promises that the Kenya Kwanza Brigade has been making to Kenyans throughout their campaign trails include setting apart 50% of all cabinet slots for women, issuing free diapers for all newborn babies across the country for a period of 3 months, as well as setting aside 50% of the 50 billion Hustlers Fund for women. Apart from the free, equitable and quality education from primary school all through to secondary school, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance has promised to distribute free sanitary towels to all school-going girls, as well as address the teachers' shortage by bridging the existing teaching staff shortage across the country. The coalition has also pledged to review the competency-based curriculum, which they avow was hurriedly introduced. The Kenya Kwanza Alliance aims to provide funds to expand enterprises by setting a 50 billion Kenya shillings annual Hustlers Fund and a 100 billion Kenya shillings fund for small and medium enterprises, with each constituency benefiting with 100 million each year. The coalition intends to lower the prices of food by slashing the prices of fertilizer and other farm inputs. The youth have also been promised 30% of all appointive positions in government and in different agencies. The youth have also been promised a single smart SME license that caters for all licensing needs. On matters of health, the Kenya Kwanza Coalition has assured all Kenyans of affordable health care through an affordable health insurance scheme, with the government paying NHIF contributions to those unable to pay from the underprivileged backgrounds. The alliance has promised to equip hospitals to provide first-class and affordable health care. The alliance has also promised to build affordable housing units in urban slums, with the principals promising to further enable Kenyans to enjoy decent living by entering into talks with homeowners and developers to allow tenants to pay for mortgages instead of monthly rent and enable them to become homeowners in the long run. The alliance has as well promised the provision of clean water for all by ensuring all dams under construction across the country have been completed promptly. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, thank you, Mwangi Maina, for that. Now, tonight, Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga has said that he will accept nothing short of a manual voter register as a complementary system to the electronic voter identification system if the forthcoming general election will be credible, free and fair. Odinga spoke on a day he differed with Deputy President William Ruto, who is firmly rooting for the electronic register to identify voters. Our senior political affairs reporter Apollo Kamau reports on a day that the country's 4 presidential candidates appeared before the IEBC with a list of demands.
A meeting of the 4 presidential candidates with IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati on the forthcoming general election exposed the fault lines between the 2 main presidential contenders, Kenya Kwanza's Deputy President William Ruto and Azimio's Raila Odinga, in their election wish list, which IEBC must comply with.
Fiscal register versus the digital register.
Odinga stated he will accept nothing short of a manual register to complement the electronic register, with Ruto pushing for the electronic system to identify voters in the 46,000 polling stations countrywide.
There has been notions that are not correct, that Kenya Kwanza wants a manual register. We do not want a manual register. If you give us sufficient safeguards that an electronic register will function without any chance of failure, then we are good.
No. We're saying it's either that or never. We will not accept anything different from that. Yes, we do electronic identification through the biometrics, but there should also be that manual register, which is crossed, so that you can also counter-check in order to know how many people actually voted in that polling station. That's why we are insisting on having the manual register also used as a backup.
Apart from Roots presidential candidate George Wajakoya, who raised no issue, Agano presidential candidate David Wahiga throwing his weight behind the electronic register.
And come to a ruling that all things put on the level plane
we'll make a ruling on the basis of the electronic. It's a way to go. It will be easier. It's more verifiable. But
though Ruto, Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua addressed the sitting separately, their allies and legal teams raised concerns on the two registers, with Azimio following Odinga's cue, while Kenya Kwanza flagged their concerns on the manual register.
Nobody is saying that you use printed registers. We are saying that system should be in place. The law requires you to have that system in place so that if anything should fail, it should be there.
What register is loaded in the KIMS kit? Because even if you printed that register and what is in the KIMS kit is what is in the physical register, nobody then needs to worry.
Both Kenya Kwanza and Azimio are concerned about the transmission of results after the failed simulation exercise at the Bomas of Kenya. Azimio raised concerns on the status of the KIMS kits and whether the Commission will provide GPS coordinates in the 46,000 polling stations, whether the kits will have backup systems, whether the kits have a secure connection, and whether data has been geofenced. Azimio and Kenya Kwanza have also raised issues with a Greece-based company, Inform Lycos, contracted to print ballot papers at a cost of 3 billion shillings. IEBC will organize a tour with the candidates to oversee the printing of the ballot papers. Kenya Kwanza seeking guarantees from Chebukati that their agents will not be ejected from polling stations. Azimio, on the other hand, wants agents allowed to take pictures of Form 34As at the polling stations. Azimio further protested tribe imbalance in the hiring of county returning officers. Meanwhile, presidential candidate Jimmy Wanjigi will know whether his name will be on the ballot on Thursday when the court determines his case against IEBC. The High Court has also given a nod to a radical proposal of having presidential and gubernatorial running mates be printed on the ballot paper. It's still clear there are stark differences between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza heading into this election, leaving IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati in a catch-22 situation to create a fair playing ground. Apul Kamau, TV47 in Nairobi.
Well, thank you, Apollo Kamau, for that. Now, Deputy President William Ruto has said that he is now confident that the August 9th general election will be peaceful, following his rival Raila Odinga's sentiments that he will concede defeat if he loses in August. Ruto now maintains that he is happy that Kenyans can now be assured of their peacefulness after the election, asking other competitors to follow suit. Mike Kagongo with more.
The Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate DP William Ruto is now confident that the forthcoming general election will be peaceful. This after his competitor and Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga promised that he will concede defeat if he loses the August polls. Speaking during a Kenya Kwanza Economic Forum in Tharaka Nithi, the second command said as Kenyans go into the election to make their decisions, it was imperative for all leaders to assure them of their continuous tranquility after the process by accepting their will.
For the first time, I want to congratulate my competitor for accepting and for committing for the first time that he will respect the outcome of the election and he will concede when he loses the election.
During a Tuesday night interview with journalists, Odinga, who was with his running mate Martha Karua, stated that he will concede defeat if he loses.
I'm the sportsman between me and him. And I know that asiyokubali kushindwa sio mshindani. So I would easily accept defeat and congratulate the winner.
Ruto has in several instances asked Raila to declare his stand, claiming he has never accepted poll results despite being defeated.
I have done the same, and every candidate should do the same. I am now confident that we will have a peaceful election. And Kenyans will go to the polls, they will make their decision, and they will know that they will be safe.
Anakuja na kuambia nitakufanyia hii, nitakuwekea hospitali, ujui priority ni gani. Yale ambayo tumeyasikia leo ni ya muhimu.
Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, outgoing president, we will not give you a single vote from this place.
Later on, Ruto attended the launch of the Kiambu County Hustlers Fund in Kiambu County, where he said his administration will introduce last mile internet should he win the August polls.
Vile tulitengeneza last mile ya stima, sasa tutafanya last mile ya internet. Tutatumia kila nyumba, kila soko, kila shule, mahali kuna stima ya grid. Pia sasa tutaweka last mile, na tumefanya hesabu, tunahitaji karibu bilioni 38 kusukuma hiyo stima, kusukuma internet iende kila nyumba.
The DP said the project will be a model of Jubilee's last mile power connectivity project, which sought to connect all households to the national grid across the country, explaining that the availability of the internet will do away with the need for bundles for anyone who will need browsing services.
So biashara katika masoko yenu, kwa sababu sasa tuta deploy internet, simu utakuwa unapiga free of charge, simu haitakuwa inakatika kwa sababu sasa tutakuwa tumedeploy internet, na utakuwa unaweza na vijana wataweza kufanya biashara online, na tunaweza kuendesha biashara yetu kwa njia inayofaa.
Ruto is set to launch the Kenya Kwanza's manifesto Thursday. Mike Kagwongo, TV 47.
Ya kuunda serikali ingine.
Now moving on, Azimio la Umoja running mate Martha Karua took the coalition's campaigns to Homa Bay County in the tour of the Nyanza region. Karua in her speech terming Raila as the best bet for the country's top job, as Paul Kirobi now reports.
Immediately Azimio la Umoja One Kenya running mate Martha Karua completed her meeting with the IEBC. Karua toured Homa Bay County to rally the community behind Raila Odinga's fifth attempt to clinch the presidency. This as Azimio la Umoja coalition is planning to lock the votes from Nyanza region in 40 days to the polls. In the region, the coalition is pushing to edge out weaker candidates.
In the central Kenya, hakuna ODM candidate. Hakuna. Kama kunayo ni wachache na ni ya kusindikisha tu watu. Lower region, lower eastern, we have Wiper, no ODM. Baringo, Kanu, no ODM. Western hapa Bungoma, DAP, no ODM. Hata sisi tunasema hapa Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay and Migori ni yetu ODM.
Azimio running mate Martha Karua, speaking during the consultative forum with women, steered clear on why Odinga is the best candidate to succeed Uhuru Kenyatta, basing on Raila's track record and his international recognition.
Sababu amepata nafasi kwa serikali, waonyeshe kijiji moja wamefanya kazi wakapata sifa. Raila's fame is not only in Kenya, it is in Africa and it's international. Leo hii, he is the advisor to African Union on infrastructure kwa sababu ya utendaji kazi wake. Sasa Kenya inahitaji mtu wa aina hiyo.
Meanwhile, as Odinga begins his tour in Nyanza region, a section of his team, including his wife Ida Odinga, stormed the western part of the country, campaigning in Kwisero area.
Watoto natoka kwa ile boma, wengine natoka kwa ile nyumba, wengine natoka kwa ile nyumba, lakini ni watoto wa baba moja. Hiyo ndiyo Azimio, si ndio? Hiyo ndiyo Azimio, si ndio? Kwa hivyo unaweza pata mtu kwa ODM,
kura ya Mbaluya, kura ya Mbaluya, kura ya Mbaluya pahali popote yuko. Mjua ni kura ya kulinda mimi. Huyo mtu anaitwa Ruto, asitumiwe asipate serikali aja ninyo.
Mio kwenye afya tulikuwa tukienda hospitali hakuna malipo. Katika nyumba ya Azimio kutoka tarehe 9 baba akiingia kwenye State House hakuna kulipa shule kutoka primary, secondary na pia university hakuna malipo.
Wanaenda kuanguka ndio yeye aendelee kuwa seneta wa Bungoma. Kama angejua wanaenda kupita, Bwana alienda huko nini? Mimi nina hakika Raila Amolo Odinga ndiye atakuwa president wa nchi hii.
A tight race is expected in Western region as the clock ticks in the run-up to the August polls. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Now, away from politics, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has moved Kasarani Police Boss Peter Mwanzo to Nakuru in changes in the police department following killings of women in Mawanga area. Matiang'i met families of victims of the killings, promising to beef up security in the area. Chichi Josephine reports from Nakuru.
CS Matiang'i, who toured Mawanga area where 3 women were killed in the last 2 weeks, told human rights activists not to come up in arms with the police over an impending operation. The government says the police service is intensifying crackdown on confirmed gang in Nakuru.
We are going to engage these people and we will deploy unprecedented fire and force kwa hawa watu. Na mtu asije kuniletea mimi hapa kuniambia mambo ya human rights. Walikuwa wapi wakati wanaua watoto wetu?
There were changes in the police service, where Kasarani area police boss Peter Mwanzo has now been moved to Nakuru as the county commander, replacing Beatrice Kiraguri, who has now been moved back to Vigilance House.
Huyu ndio police commander wetu mpya wa hapa. Baada atakuwa na sisi hapa, tasimamia kazi mpya. Kwa sababu tunataka uwajibikaji na kazi ifanyike vizuri, kwa sababu hatuwezi kuishi kwa nchi ambao wakora wanatembea kwa miji mpaka mchana.
Nakuru police have recovered crude weapons, mobile phones, motorcycles suspected to have been used as means of transport in the area.
Mheshimiwa Waziri, nataka nikuhakikishie kuanzia dakika hii nikitafuta wale wako nyuma ya hii mauaji, hao wananchi hawatashuhudia mambo kama hiyo tena.
Governor Lee Kinyanjui said that the recent attacks had left the families traumatized, urging the government to take full control of the area.
Yetu tu ni kuomba serikali, because security is devolved. If there is a criminal or anybody among us who is making our people have sleepless nights, that person does not belong to us. Take full control.
Bahati, Member of Parliament Kimani Ngunjiri, openly denied allegations of being summoned over links with the confirmed gang, noting that he was asked to assist the DCI with the ongoing investigations.
To clarify, I'm not summoned by anybody myself. For what? But I'm involved to give the information which I know, but not being summoned. Kwa hiyo mkutano was not summoned by anybody.
It was a visit that has given residents in this area high hopes after CS Fred Matiang'i assured them of adequate security. Reporting for TV47 from Mawanga area in Nakuru County, my name is Chichi Josephine.
Well, moving on, counties have spent over 3.2 trillion shillings in the last 9 years of devolution. This is according to the 3rd edition of the county fact sheets launched by the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Garissa, Bungoma and Tharaka Nithi counties topped the list of counties that have grown in on-source revenue, while Nairobi, Busia and Isiolo counties came last. And Rinkilemi now reports.
The 3rd edition of the county fact sheets launched Wednesday provided detailed county information on revenue and expenditure. Over the last 9 years of devolution, counties have utilized revenues totaling to 3.2 trillion shillings, which includes 2.5 trillion as equitable share, 142 billion as national government conditional grants, and 191 billion in loans and grants from development partners.
In the long term, we must be spending about 30% for development. And when we draw that line against the scatter diagram that we have there, you find that a number of counties have not achieved that percentage over the time.
Garissa, Bungoma and Tharaka Nithi are among counties that collected revenues from its own sources and were listed top in growth of own source revenues. The total amount of revenues collected by counties totaling to 271 billion shillings.
What are the health indicators looking like? How are governors doing in terms of building county infrastructure, notably the roads, the health facilities, the ECDs, and how do we see the indicators for the fully devolved functions?
Nairobi, Busia and Isiolo counties collected the least in their own revenue sources. Devolution CES Eugene Wamalwa affirmed that devolution was working adding that counties can achieve more if their leadership focuses on citizens' priorities.
We must start with those leaders at the ground to build this country upwards. I was joking with my good friend, Senator Kangata here, that he's a bottom-up guy. But the real bottom-up is devolution. If we can take over 3 trillion down to the bottom, and we have honest leaders called MCAs in our 1,450 wards, and we're able to give them money in every ward, we can build this country from the bottom upwards. We can turn our counties into engines of socio-economic transformation of our country. It can be done.
3 counties, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nyandarua and West Pokot, had the fastest economic growth, while Machakos, Mombasa and Kilifi had declined in their economic growth. 13 other counties, among them Homa Bay, Migori, Kirinyaga and Kajiado counties, recorded stagnated growth. Andrine Kilemi, TV 47.
Our family in Sala Ward, Madogo division of Tana River County was thrown into confusion after their son, whom they had presumed dead and buried, resurfaced 1 year later. Abdi Osman, aged 14, tells a tale of his disappearance. Mudhoni Maina has more.
A happy mood engulfed Madogo division in Tana River County as Abdirahman Abdi Osman's family was smiling from end to end after they set their eyes on Osman, who was presumed dead and buried.
Ile kijana mlidhani nimekufa, ni mimi sijakufa. The
14-year-old's story sprung from June last year as an arrest warrant was issued against him after he was found sneaking into Chief Mumina Harun's house at the wee hours of the night. On their way to Madogo police station, Osman escaped arrest and disappeared into thin air.
Was caught up in somebody's house in Mulanjo village. That's the chief's house, Mumina Nyanza. I think the chief, with the assistance of the elders, arrested the suspect, and then as they were bringing him to the police station, he jumped out of the vehicle.
Confusion looms as his disappearance, which was reported by the chief, was later on pinned down to the grave after a dead body was found a week later at Bakoyo area on the banks of River Tana, which the family claimed was that of their son.
As the body was at the mortuary, the family who had reported earlier their son was missing went to the mortuary and identified the body, and they said it was belonging to their son.
The DCI officers based at the Madogo police station took samples from the dead body for DNA testing, but by the time the boy resurfaced, the results were not yet in.
Somebody was buried. I think a due process has to be followed now to maybe exhume the body and then taken back to the mortuary.
Struggling with acceptance and denial, the boy's father, Baro Osman, and Chief Mumina decided to bury the hatchet and clear the air on the grave matter.
Chief alijaribu kujitetea na mashahidi walijaribu kutoa shahidi ya ukweli, lakini ajili ya yeye ni mama ndio ilikuwa hiyo maneno aliweka uzito.
Sisi tumeshasamea wao na tunataka wao pia atusamehe.
Bangali Sub-County Deputy County Commissioner Joseph Kipkorir said that due process will be followed to clear the chief, close the case and clear her of any wrongdoing.
The due process also has to be followed so that the chief is cleared out of the issue.
Muthoni Maina, TV 47.
Well, at 28 minutes past the hour, time now for a very short break, but don't go away. We'll be back with more.
TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Despite being visually impaired, he is a jack of all trades. It is our quest to find answers on how to take care of children with special needs and those with disability. You do not need to see musical notes to understand music, but rather to have your soul feel the vibe.
Actually, for us to make a wheelchair, we have to take measurements of the user.
After doing my assessment, I get to know the parent, I get to know the heaviness she's carrying.
Disability comes at different stages of life.
How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga.
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. The next set of millionaires are farmers, as we know agriculture has been and still is the backbone of our economy. As we traverse the different counties to meet different farmers, we ensure to get the story of how they started farming and even how they continue to penetrate the market and overcome the challenges.
Hapa, the reason why nilieka goose na si ducks. Goose, they are very easy to maintain.
A lot of farmers keep on calling, inquiring whether you're supposed to raise some seeds in the nursery or you're supposed to do them directly in the field.
The greenhouse helps us control the temperature because the temperature needs to be between 28 to 32 degrees.
Walk this journey with us every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. It's no secret, construction ain't cheap. But how do we make it affordable? Different individuals are finding ways of cutting down cost by use of pre-stressed slabs other than reinforced concrete, recycling plastics to make pavers.
The brick is stronger, it's cheaper, and it's lighter.
And recycling wastewater in your household.
What happens to my waste from the washroom, the solid waste? All that can break down.
Those are just but a few. Every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. we talk construction.
There's no alpha without an omega. There's no lead without any followers. No man is an island. We need each other. We need this conference. We say it.
The home of untold stories.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, patients suffering from prostate cancer have a reason to smile after the National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF, in partnership with Janssen Kenya, reduced the price of an innovator prescription drug by 50% in a bid to save them from financial hardships. They have lauded the move, saying that it is a landmark that will help boost the local access to innovator drugs, as Chepto Boit now reports.
Mr. Asgar and Dr. Kimonyi on
prostate cancer patients covered under the National Health Insurance Fund NHIF can now access an innovator prescription drug manufactured and distributed by Janssen Kenya under the Johnson & Johnson Pharmaceutical Company at an affordable rate. According to NHIF, more than 50% has been alleviated on the abiraterone acetate drug, which is used to treat prostate cancer, in a bid to save patients from catastrophic expenditure, which has proven to be the biggest challenge in healthcare.
With this partnership and many more that we're going to pursue, is to ensure that within the NHIF benefit package, we're able to address the needs of the people, to ensure that what we offer them after paying the 17 shillings a day or 500 shillings a month, that should they have cancer, that it will be able to be treated within the package to alleviate them from financial hardship.
And the collaboration we just signed is one step on the way to provide the same chances to Kenyan patients than to any other patients in the world. So that means for us it's super important to be together with the local authorities, to work together with the medical community to ensure that patients suffering from prostate cancer in Kenya have the same chances to survive than people in my home country, Germany.
Speaking after signing a memorandum of understanding between NHIF and Johnson & Johnson, the Ministry of Health has stated that 42,116 cases and 27,092 deaths are reported every year as a result of cancer.
Janssen Kenya have reduced the price of treatment of the drug from a whopping 1.2 million shillings for the whole treatment cycle to provide 10 packages of the drug to the patient to fit within the NHIF oncology package of Kenya shillings 600,000.
And right now, like we even look at prostate cancer, it accounts for 12% of all the cancer treatments or payments that we make from NHIF. So this will go a long way in expanding those people who can be able to access this benefit within NHIF.
According to NHIF, the uptake prostate cancer treatment early detection services remained low in the country. They have, however, lauded the partnership, terming it as a landmark development that will help boost the local access to innovative drugs. With the rising number of cancer patients and it continuing to be a threat to the society at large, Kenyans have now been urged to normalize screening to enable early detection, since many Kenyans fall prey of knowing they have the disease at a later stage. Chepto Boyd, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Chepto Boyd, for that piece. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, now says it is set for the August polls. IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati says that printing of the voters' register will proceed pending a High Court determination on a pending case. IEBC CEO Marjan of IEBC has said that the Commission will use biometric and physical voter registers to verify voters during the August polls. Marjan spoke to TV47's Elizabeth Mutuku in an exclusive interview.
Thank you so much, CEO, for giving me this opportunity at least to talk to you on election preparedness. 39 days to go. How prepared are we?
Well, in terms of preparedness, I can say the Commission is fully prepared. Fully prepared. As you saw today, we were having our national election planning meeting with all the county returning officers, the returning officers and the deputy returning officers, and all our staff in the field. Why? Is because now our focus is actually on the election. We are through with the other phases. We've prepared the register. We've done the issue of candidates. We've finalized. Last week we obtained the list of party lists. So we are now like one step to the election. We are now going to train the staff that we have recruited. And then after that we wait for the materials. We dispatch them. And there we are.
There have been court cases over and over. Has this delayed your actions and your preparedness towards this election?
Certainly, yes. The cases that are in court were with regard to those who are aggrieved by the Dispute Resolution Committee are likely to impact us in terms of preparedness, especially on the delivery of materials. So, especially the printing of the ballot papers. They need sufficient time for them to be printed and for them to be organized in a way that they are supposed to be dispatched, the respective constituency and then to the polling station. As we speak, I think we've got very little time, and therefore would urge the judiciary to expedite those cases very, very fast. Otherwise, we are going to be in trouble.
This time you've allowed political parties, media houses to have their own tallying centers. In the event any party claims that they have won and they have declared their results, how prepared are you to deal with these situations and these circumstances?
One thing that I want to make it very clear to everyone is that it is the Commission's responsibility to declare the results. Just like they always say, results declared at the polling station is final. Also, the results declared by Mr. Wafula Chebukati for presidential results is going to be final. And anybody who wants to contest, they can go to court. But I agree with you, there's a possibility that there are some stakeholders who may want to distort information. And therefore, for us, that's why we are saying that we even want media to be involved, because when media do it, media, they are trusted by the public, as opposed to our stakeholders who would want to actually show that they are the ones who won and not the other opponent. And therefore, we believe that if media are to do that, it will give the process some credibility. But our process also are going to be efficient. We want to be on top of this exercise, as opposed to what people say that we are going to be slow and we are going to be taken over by events. No, we will actually work very fast to ensure that we deliver the results as fast as possible.
How are you going to be on top of everything, or else you've not done?
First of all, you must understand that the results, the election is not fully automated. It is partly manual and also partly automated. In as far as the election day is concerned, all the polling process, apart from identification and results transmission, is basically manual. You present yourself there physically, it is counted there physically. So that sluggishness is going to be there.
And that's why some players also want maybe to have the manual register, because everything, as you say, is more of is done manually.
No. In fact, okay, there's a difference between what I'm talking about, the manual process and election process, because I'm saying it's a combination. For identification purposes, we want to use KIMS-KIT. For results transmission, we want to use KIMS-KIT. But the polling process is actually manual, because after you have been identified, you are going to be given ballot papers. You go and you select the candidate of your choice, and then you are going to cast the ballot manually, as opposed to in a digital kind of a situation, e-voting. You'll just go and select the candidate, and that's it. The system will automatically be able to determine who is actually the one. Immediately you are through with the election. But you see, with manual process, what is going to happen? Immediately after that, what happens? You have now to turn the polling station into a counting station. You start counting manually again. Agree. After that, the agents have to sign. Then after that is when you capture the image. It's going to be transmitted. The forms are going to be taken manually again by vehicle to the tallying center. They have to be counted. They have to be collated. So the process is manual. So it is possible that others, like for example the agents, may take maybe just the image, the photo of the image, send it to their tallying center, and they already start tallying their results. But we are saying that even us, we are also going to have our own system of making sure that we also tally our results as fast as possible. We don't want to be put under pressure, but you also remember, for us, we have a responsibility of ensuring that the results are accurate, they are verifiable, and we are accountable for them. So we'll take our time to make sure that the results are actually, they speak to the will of the people of Kenya.
But some players in this election, they feel that the manual register should be part of this election, unlike what IEBC thinks.
So we are going to sit down and discuss and agree. If ultimately the agreement is that I think they are convinced we should not have the register, well and good, that will be very, very good for the country. But if they insist, then we are going to give them that register. But the law is very clear, because there was a ruling in 2017 on the same. It will be the final resort that the KIMS-KIT has failed. All the backups have failed. And that is when now we can be able to use the register.
I understand over 11,000 centers have no 3G network. How has the Commission dealt with this?
No, it's not true that it's 11,000 center, first of all. It is 1,111 polling centers. Those polling centers, in a polling center, we can have 3, 4, 5, maybe even up to 10 polling stations. Imagine a primary school is a polling center. So within primary school, you can have 4 classes or 5 classes, where each class is a polling station. So they are such kind, 1,011. 1,111. And we are saying that in terms of preparation, we are going to use satellite modems to provide the network in those areas. So in a school, we can provide one satellite modem. It will take care of all the classes there, and they can be able to use a signal to transmit the results. It's just like if there is network, we can actually be able to access that wireless network and we're able to transmit there. So that is what is going to happen to those 1,111. But over and above that, we've been talking to the telecommunication service provider. Myself and the chairman will be meeting the CEOs of various telcos, of those telcos, the 3 telco companies. We have talked to them and they have actually informed that they are going to support us in as far as this exercise is concerned. They are going to optimize the network. They are going to make sure that they are present in areas where, remember there are 3 players. They will determine who is stronger in which area. And from there, then we will be able to know. Because we'll use two SIM cards, a primary SIM card and a secondary SIM card. The secondary SIM card is a backup just in case that there is a network challenges for the first service provider. So it's a business continuity. Because you see, something can happen to that network service provider. You can still have the other service provider to provide the network capability. So I think it's an area that we are prepared. We know the challenges and we know what to do. We are already on it, and therefore, by the time we reach that time, we shall be fully prepared.
In the event you're compelled to use the manual register, are you ready for this?
Yes, if we are compelled to use manual register, it's very clear in terms of how we should use it. Because when a manual register, the way people consider it is as if it's a backup, is a complementary mechanism. But when you appear to the polling station before the presiding officer, you are supposed to be identified using your biometrics. And if your biometrics fail for one reason or the other, because it can fail, because in Kenya, most people are hardworking. They are farmers. Some of them are masons, and therefore it corrodes their fingerprints. So it's possible for you to appear there and your fingerprints are not being read by the KIMS kit. If that happens, then we can be able to identify you using your ID number or your passport number. Once we enter your ID number or your passport number, or even scan the back of the ID, there's what we refer to as MRZ. We can scan the back of your ID, and that information of the voter will be pulled on the screen of the KIMS kit. We'll see your photo. We'll also see your other details like your name, your date of birth, your polling stations. So we can be able to confirm positively that this is the person, legitimate person, who is supposed to vote. And then, if that is the case, we will allow you to vote. After, of course, there's a form that is called Form 32A. It's going to be filled, and then you'll be allowed to vote. So it's not an issue, per se, that there must be a physical register. But if they insist, we'll have it, but there are going to be challenges.
But why is IEBC running away from the manual register so much?
Because every decision you make has got consequences. I don't want to talk about that because, like I said, this matter is in court. But we are going to discuss with the presidential candidates. So we are going to agree in terms of what options should we actually go with. Whichever case we are ready, by the way, we have no problem. It's very clear in terms of how we should use the register. Only when the KIMS kits have failed completely and there's no backup.
The 2017 election was marred with technical issues, and how certain are we today that this won't be repeated in this election?
The issue that made the petition previously, two fundamental issues. One was basically on the tax results in terms of what really happened, and two was on the issue of scrutiny, and the third one was actually on the issue of opening the server, which actually the server was opened but after the prescribed time. So this time, like I said, in fresh presidential election, we actually gave all the presidential candidates access to the server as things were happening. So same way we actually worked last time, we are going to provide them with that capability. Remember also this time we are saying that we'll provide accessibility to the results by providing API to the stakeholders, that is political parties, as well as the media, so they can be able to access these results that have been scanned and sent.
So this time servers will be very open.
Everything is going to be open. Everybody is going to see what is going to happen. The public web portal will have the results. You can also be able to access the results from there.
Is IEBC prepared for a runoff in the eventuality it happens?
Yes, in terms of preparation, we are fully prepared. You can see now we have a battle of armies that actually came to Bomas here today in our planning meeting. What does it show? It shows that now we've gone there and told them now go and do the work. They are ready for the work. 1 month after that, they will still be ready. They will have the stamina. The only thing that is required is to buy the materials. We only need the budget for us to buy the relevant materials, and there we are. In 30 days, we will conduct a runoff.
Unlike 2017 election, IEBC Commission is seen, the players therein and the commissioners are seen working together, maybe united. Is this just a show?
No, it is not maybe united. We are actually united. We are more united than...
We are not going to see divisions like we witnessed 2017.
You see, whenever there are new players, always there's going to be, initially, there's going to be norming and storming. But after that, once people have already normed, they work together. What you are seeing now is actually a commission that is working together very, very closely. Because also it's very, very important for the public to see that there is a working commission, not a divided commission. Otherwise, are you going to trust our results?
That I leave it to you at least to answer, but we are looking forward, maybe after 9th August, to see whether you will still be working together, and we wish you the very best. Thank you so much for watching TV 47.
Well, thank you very much there, Liz Mutuku. That's the CEO, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, talking about the Commission's preparedness before the August 9th polls, and of course speaking on the day that both the Azimio, La Umoja, One Kenya coalition, as well as the Kenya Kwanza coalition presented their concerns before the Commission, one side insisting that there must be a fully electronic voter register before the polls, while the other side insisting that there should be a manual backup should the electronic register fail. Now to business now. The Equity Group Holdings has recorded a 99% profit before tax in its 18th annual general meeting. Now the great improvement being attributed to growth of social capital as well as value addition to its clients. Speaking during the meeting, the Equity Group CEO Dr. James Mwangi said that the profit before tax increased by 99% from 22 billion shillings to 51.9 billion shillings, assets having grown from 1 trillion shillings to 1.3 trillion shillings. I beg your pardon.
Trading within the neighboring countries or across the border will become easier as each of the countries enhances its manufacturing and value addition on its primary products, because there are diverse resources from one country to the other. Hopefully, this will also create an opportunity for us to enhance global trade and enhance the region's participation in global trade. As we do this, as the chairman said, we will remain socially and environmentally responsible. We will deploy technologies that are friendly to the environment, particularly in use of clean energy, and in natural resources. We will focus primarily in supporting value addition in clean energy, natural resources.
Well, moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta has rallied Portuguese investors, entrepreneurs and captains of industry to make Nairobi the fulcrum of their business interests and investments in Africa. According to Kenyatta, Kenya's immense commercial potential in almost all sectors of the country's expanding economy and the cosmopolitan configuration of her population makes Nairobi the ultimate destination for Portuguese investments. Now, Kenyatta was meeting Portuguese host Marcelo Rebelo de Souza while the business meeting was organized by the Kenya Investment Authority and its Portuguese equivalent, the Portugal Global, to explore business partnerships and investments opportunities by Kenyans and Portuguese captains of industry, entrepreneurs and business leaders.
Of the international community.
So therefore, as we come to this forum, as we bring our business leaders together, you come together in an environment where your two governments have already shown a very strong desire to create an enabling environment for you, our private sector, who are the key in terms of engagement of our people-to-people relations can come together and thrive, thereby creating opportunities, taking advantage of opportunities to create jobs and prosperity for our two nations.
But you also came to Portugal to speak of our common future. Not just to be a co-chair of a very important international conference, not just to visit Portugal, the first Kenyan president ever to visit Portugal, but mostly to leave a message, a future.
Let's switch gears now to the world of sports. Nandi County Commissioner Herman Shambi has urged parents to ensure that they give good moral values to their children as they take a break for a short holiday. Speaking during the flag-off event of the pupils who were expected to participate in the primary school regional competition in Nyahururu, Shambi reiterated the importance of involving children in different sporting activities. The competition will be held in Laikipia County.
Naam, tuko hapa leo kuweza flag off hawa wanariadha wetu ambao wanapata 40 wakiwa wasichana na 20 na wavulana 20 wakielekea kwa michezo ya kanda ama regional tournament ambayo mambo ya riadha itafanyika huko Nyahururu. Na kama mjuavyo, apart from masomo, another issue ambayo ni forte ya Nandi ni mambo ya riadha. Wanasema hii ndio source of champions. So nimesikia furaha sana na kusikia vizuri kwa sababu naona kama nimeflag off timu ya Kenya, kwa sababu hawa wachanga wetu miaka ijayo mtaona hawa ndio watakuwa wanakimbia katika mbio nyingi sana kimataifa. Tunatakia kila laheri. Kila mwaka naona Nandi imekuwa ikiongoza kwa mambo kama haya, na naamini hata mwaka huu hawa vijana watafanya tuende mbali.
Peter Wahome and Frida Chepkite were crowned champions of the 2022 Lewa Safari Marathon held at the Lewa Conservancy. Wahome overcame the hot weather to finish first in the men's category in a time of 2 hours, 24 minutes and 45 seconds ahead of Philip Kigen and Paul Oweru, who finished second and third respectively. While in the women's category, Chepkite clocked 3 hours, 2 minutes and 4 seconds to emerge victorious, beating Beatrice Cherop, Anika Berlin. Meanwhile, Abiod Wamboi clinched the women's title in the 21 kilometers race, defeating Lucy Karimi and Mercy Kwambai, who finished second and third, while Eliud Mutai won the men's title, beating Mike Kiptum and Evans Mayaka. The annual Lewa Marathon comprises the 42 kilometers race, half marathon and children's event, as this year's event attracted a wide array of athletes from 34 countries.
Nimashukuru Mungu tu juu ya kuniwezesha kushinda hii bio.